My name's Wendy. I run a business called The Cheerleader. Today, I'm running a session on the 12-week year. This is one quote that summarizes the book. Let's redefine a year. A year is no longer 12 months, it's now only 12 weeks. Stick around if you want to learn more. Okay, hello. Welcome to the first of the TLDR series run by The Cheerleader. My name is Wendy Horan. I run The Cheerleader business. It is a business and mindset coaching and consulting business. So I focus in on helping early stage business owners, entrepreneurs, people that are considering starting a business, help them kind of get really clear on their passion, what it is that they're passionate about, why it's important to them to make this passion come to life and become a reality. And then also think about what the steps are to take next. So it's getting really clear on what are we doing, what's the goal, and how do we do it. In light of that, I wanted to start this series, this free series, TLDR. Basically, that's a very popular acronym for Too Long Didn't Read. And the idea is that this is a summary online book club, which essentially means that I've read the book, so you don't have to. Um, how this operates is that I am constantly reading relevant business books and new pieces from thought leaders in the kind of business, productivity, strategy, mindset industry or ecosystem, and I'm reading it from the perspective of a small business owner, or even if you're not a small business owner, someone that works in a way that's, I suppose, untraditional. So I'm not reading from the perspective of someone in a pretty standard 9 to 5 corporate job. However, I think some of the framing and the techniques and the perspectives that I'm bringing for you here and summarizing for you here might still be of interest. It's nice sometimes to think of other ways to approach tasks and your day. So you're more than welcome, if you're falling into that 9 to 5 category, you're more than welcome to hang around and listen to a few of the insights. But primarily, I'm reading these books so you don't have to, but through the lens, and I'm searching for perspectives, techniques, tips that we can use as small business owners that will really help us take charge of our day to day, week to week, and ultimately to reach those goals that are manifesting our passions into reality, into the world. I say manifesting in the kind of context of we're taking steps in a process to get to the desired outcome. Though there is and may be a space for, perhaps what you're considering manifesting to be, which is that kind of positive intention setting and positive thought and the aspiration. That's definitely a part of mindset and how we can approach our goals. But what I'm reading these books for, they're very much business books, and it's how we can use our business and use techniques to get us further. So, with that said, we'll jump straight in. The book that I want to talk about today, that you may have seen, it's called The 12-Week Year. It's by Brian P. Morgan and Michael Lennington. Now, this book I actually couldn't put down. It was very interesting to me to be reading this, and I've experienced this a few times last year with the books that I was reading, where I'd kind of get a few pages in and then realize, oh, this is really hitting me in a really good way, and I'm feeling really represented in this book, even though I believe the target audience for this book is more that corporate 9 to 5 structure. And I believe this book came out a little while ago. It came out in 2013. So sometimes I'm a little bit hesitant with business books that were written, pre-pandemic or even many years further before the pandemic, just because I think where I'm certainly at and where I think the nature of small business is that there's a lot more opportunity and a lot more businesses and a lot more people working in more of a digital and a remote environment. And sometimes I tread carefully with books that were written pre-pandemic just because they could potentially have a limiting perspective, and the advice isn't always exactly applicable now. However, I knew this book was definitely like a 5-star read because a few pages in, it was already giving me the insights and already reminding me so much of how I see business now. And I could really resonate to some of the kind of problem statements that they were describing of their potential readers. Um, to give you the overview, so here's the summary for you. The 12-week year they describe it, the authors describe it as an operating system. So think of in your business, you might have either Google Workspace, or you might have Microsoft Office, or you might have let's say like a Workflow Max, or you might have MailChimp. They're all kind of like systems that you're using, and you're adopting the structure of those systems or platforms or tools, whatever you want to say, to then do your business within. So let's take Microsoft Office as an example. You've got the flexibility and the options there. You may then use Microsoft Teams to message teammates or clients. You may use Microsoft Word to put a report together. You may use Microsoft Excel to put your kind of financial forecasting together. And you're using these components of the overall operating system that is Microsoft Office. In this book, the authors are recommending that the operating system is actually how we're thinking about what we define as a year. And you may have seen in my post ahead of this call now that if we move away from annualized thinking to a different way of thinking and adopting a new operating system, we can get more done quicker than what we would have. So I'll explain that further. In this book, they talk about the annualized model. So think of a year. We're in January right now. We think of the year ahead. What are our goals for the year ahead? What are our aspirations for the year ahead? What does that look like? We think of it as a 12-month period of time. So what can we achieve in 12 months? The earlier we are in the year, so January, even February, we're kind of thinking we've got loads and loads and loads of time. We've got so much time to get things done because it's 12 months away. And what we have as priorities now, we know we will get to them, but we may not get to them right now because there's no urgency right now. We know we will achieve it by December. We'll have the mad rush before Christmas. It will be the last 3 weeks of the year, and we'll be saying, oh, we didn't do this. Oh, we didn't do that. Quick. And there's this kind of almost universal. And when I say universal, I mean coming into a holiday season, not necessarily it could be, Easter break, it could be in the middle of the year, it could be holidays at the end of the year, whatever that kind of break is. It could even be you're about to go on holidays and you're rushing to hand things over to another person. Anywhere where there's like a allocated stop, a hard stop to the year or to a piece of time, we tend to rush because we feel the sense of urgency. We feel the deadline approaching. We go. And yes, we get it done. But what has happened for the rest of the year? So if we're in January, February, we're thinking, oh, we've got loads of time. We can kick it down the road. We can keep going, get distracted, think of other things, justify not doing it because we've got loads of time. Then we get to the end of the year, the time's run out, and we do it anyway. But think of this. The authors in this book suggest a different operating system where we're not thinking that we have 12 months. Instead, we think we have 12 weeks. In this model, it basically suggests that over a 12-week period of time, 12 weeks is a year. Now, be careful here because they're not suggesting quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and 4 quarters equal a year an annual cycle. They are not suggesting that. What they're suggesting instead is that 12 weeks is a year. And that 12 weeks doesn't need to go from the 1st of Jan to the 31st of March and then start April to the end of June. They're not suggesting that. They're saying that you could pick any random date. So you could pick the 27th of January, and that is day one of your 12-week year. And anything that you are identifying to be what would you like to have achieved in a year, you are setting that goal for yourself over the year, which is 12 weeks in duration. So I'll just let that sink in for a second, because 12 weeks we think of as a really short period of time. It's weeks. You could almost count it on two hands, almost. And when you equate, you could get your annual goal done in a year, which is 12 weeks. Wouldn't that be so much more satisfying? And they actually say this on the front of the book. The 12-week year. Get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. And there is an element of truth to that. Because you could very easily think of whatever you're kind of leaning towards your goal to be right now. If you take just a second to think of that, we're at the start of the year. What's the goal you're thinking of? What do you really want to have achieved this year? Rather than thinking you will achieve it by December, think that you'll achieve it in the next 12 weeks. In 12 weeks' time, you would have achieved that goal. And then think of how empowering that actually is to reach the end of that 12-week cycle. You've achieved the thing that may have taken you 12 months. Instead, you've done it in 12 weeks. And then you can reflect. How did it go? What did you like about the process? And then you start it again. And you may start the next 12-week year the week after you finish the first. But it might also be 3 weeks after you finish the first. There's flexibility there. From my perspective, and perhaps from yours, I really value being able to be flexible in my approach to my business, my small business. I can see the peaks and the flows in when I have consulting clients, coaching clients, and things move throughout the year. What I really like about this approach is it's not enforcing the additional pressure of an annual cycle or a quarterly cycle onto the goals and the outputs that I desire. This is very much an outcomes-focused approach. This is an outcomes-focused operating system. And so that's what drew me in a couple pages in. So what we're doing is taking our annual thinking and getting rid of it. We're throwing that out. And instead we think of a year as 12 weeks, and that can start at any point in time, not necessarily in line with quarter one, quarter two. It's a random 12-week duration of time. There are a few things in the book where you could add 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals. The authors kind of speak to, you might have a business goal, you might have a health goal, you might have a relationship goal, and those 3 goals are allocated to that 12-week duration of time. When I've commenced doing this myself, so I'm on week 3 right now of the year that I've allocated, and with this, I have allocated 1 big business goal to focus on. And through having that 1 clear goal and going through a planning process where I've added my strategy and my critical tasks that I deem are critical to do to achieve that goal in the 12-week period, I've allocated them into a 12-week calendar without real dates on it. I've just allocated with 12 weeks consecutively. And I know that as every day starts, every weekday starts, I look at the calendar and I can see the planned critical task for that day. And then at the end of the week, I'm doing a progress and measurement report to see how I tracked against those planned activities. Now, I don't want to lose you here, because Yes, it did take a little bit of time to really have that strategy day and to put those tasks that I deemed critical to my overall goal onto the calendar. If that's something that doesn't come naturally to you, or you kind of struggle with that, or you really benefit from bouncing those types of discussions off someone else, please reach out to me separately and I'd be happy to talk you through how I did that approach. But essentially, once you have those really clear tasks up on your 12-week calendar, which is your year, then it's really easy to, during the week, as you're getting busy, as you may start getting distracted or going down rabbit holes or having amazing creative ideas, you can kind of have a little moment to put a pin in them and then look back to the critical tasks and go, right, I'm going to refocus my attention on those critical tasks because that will help me reach the goal. So that's the kind of high level of the 12-week year. There's obviously, the authors have put together some templates for reporting, some templates for planning. They spend a lot of time kind of reiterating the value of having a clear vision and a really kind of dream goal down the track outside of the 12-week duration that is kind of steering the ship in that direction. That could be anything, but it's a goal that feels so far away from where you are right now that it is leading you in that direction. For me personally, that felt a little bit overwhelming to me, perhaps because it's the first time using this as an operating model in my business. So I've actually just set the goal and the vision as the goal that I have for the year. And so I'm working to that. And every day I'm looking at my calendar and I'm reacquainting myself with the goal and the why of the goal. Why is this important to me? Why is it that I feel passionate about this? And this is helping me execute on these tasks. And so, yes, that in summary is the 12-week year. There's quite a few great little quotes and tips in here. And look, if you are interested in reading it, I would encourage you to do so, because part of how I've really enjoyed reading and learning is through highlighting elements that are relevant to me and adding annotations in the pages that are reminders for me, and help me kind of absorb it better. But in saying that, that's what this online summary book club is for. Too Long Didn't Read, because I want to kind of take the key points of the book and feed it back to you. As I say, it's about, to start off with, I would recommend picking one big goal for the year. So that could be something like, depending on what your business is, depending on what your kind of next steps are and your aspirations, it could be launch service A, or it could be launch product A, or it could be upgrade your website. It could be actually starting your business and identifying what your vision is, what your strategy is, what you're going to need resource wise, how you're even going to start. It could be any of those things. So let's just pretend it's for launching your new product. So that could be your goal for the year. Then you want to get clear on why this is important to you, what that vision statement is. As I was saying before, it can be something really, really big and a blue sky dream that you really want to get to one day. Or if this is your first time using this system, maybe bring it back a little bit and just focus on something that is kind of a stretch, but you can still see that it could happen. So maybe that will be something that will happen over the next 6 months or so, where it's that's the direction you're going. So you've got the goal for the 12-week year. You've got your longer term goal that is providing that direction. Then you want to select your 12-week duration start and end. And as I say, it does not have to be on January 1st. It does not have to be on the start of a month. It does not have to be on a Monday. It could literally be on a random Thursday in February. That could be the start of your 12-week block, because it's not about the calendar date. It's about the duration of time. So that's really critical to select that start and end. And it's also critical that the 12 weeks are consecutive. We're not talking about, you might do it for 2 weeks, then have a break, and then have another 3-week block and then a break. That's not what this system is. So select your 12-week duration start and end dates. Then you'll plan your strategic tasks and add it to a blank 12-week calendar. Again, if you need any help with that, reach out to me separately and we can talk that through. Then we start the year. You do your first day and you start the year. Each week, so you could do it at the end of the week or you could do it at the start of the next week. So for me personally, I run Monday through Sunday as a week. And then every Monday, when it's the start of the new week, I'm also doing my measurements for the week before. So I'm really capturing Monday through Sunday. And that's how I've planned it. I have a few tasks that I have allocated to a Sunday, which is why I've done it that way. But if you have tasks only allocated to the Friday, for example, or whatever format you've done, you could very much do that reporting on that last day of the week. But that is really critical to measure and track your progress weekly. Another thing that Brian and Michael talk about in this book is that it's really critical to have ownership of the task, ownership of the strategy, ownership of the outcome that you're desiring, ownership of your vision, as opposed to what we think of as accountability. Accountability, generally speaking, may be seen as someone holding you to account to do a thing. And if you haven't done the thing, that then you haven't been accountable for it. If we flip that narrative and instead think of it as ownership, and you're invested and you have complete ownership over your vision and your strategy and the tasks that you've deemed critical to your strategy and your goal, you are going to own that task, you are going to do that thing. And it's your own ownership of the task that actually is the accountability. You certainly can have a group of, people around you, or if you have team members, you might want to share what you're doing and what the goals are with them as kind of an accountability committee of sorts, or people around you that are the support structure. But part of moving away from annualized thinking and moving towards the duration and an outcomes focused approach is that you're tracking how you did, you're measuring how you did versus the plans that you had, the critical tasks that you planned. So why we want to track at the end of each week and review our progress and reflect on that is not to see if we failed. If you had 10 tasks planned and you did eight out of the 10, that does not mean you failed because you didn't do 10. We then look at why weren't 10 done, and it's only feedback. It's not failure, it's feedback. So we are looking at how we performed and we are seeing, okay, I did 8 because new information came in and I actually was able to add a few other critical tasks this week. So actually I've done 12 tasks, not 8 or not 10, whatnot. So things can still happen and adjust as you learn more things through the week. But it's critical to always think, if I'm adding a task here, is it critical to getting to my goal, or is this a distraction? But so that measuring and tracking your progress weekly is critical, again, for your own alignment, for your own ownership, and to see if there's something that you need to adjust. Lead tasks are basically the activities that you do to reach the goal. Like, so let's say in a social media example, let's say you want to increase your followers. Let's just say you have 10 followers and you want to get to 15 followers. The lead task that you do in the lead up to the goal is your posting, and you're doing regular posting. You might do a post, a story, another post, another story. You might be doing that weekly. You might be doing it daily, whatever seems right for you and whatever aligns to your goal and what feels true to who you are and what your passion is and what the purpose is. But you posting is a lead activity. That is something that is in your control. And so we're focusing on that as a critical task, because as you post more and more, you will eventually get to more followers. Actually getting the followers, adding 1 follower or 2 followers, is the lag metric on that, because it's actually you have achieved, you got more followers, And then we're measuring how many more is it. It's the same with invoicing. So you may be doing client work and that is the lead, or you may be asking for referrals, or you may be going to a networking event and you're tracking how often you're going to the networking event or how often you're asking for referrals. And that is your lead, because the outcome would be to win a new client to then invoice them a certain amount of money. So the lead is up to the thing you're wanting to achieve. And then once you've got that, your lag is, the metric of that, the dollar amount that you've sent the invoice for, or the followers that you've gotten from the lead task. So that's all part in this, measurement and reporting progress. And as I say, I've got a template there that will help you through the 12 weeks on how to actually plan and measure the week to week. Just to recap, we've picked one goal for the year. We've understood why this is important to you, aligning to your long-term vision, and the reason why you're wanting to do this. Then you select when you're starting and ending that 12-week period, and then you're planning your tasks, you're adding them to the calendar, you start the year, and then weekly you track and measure your progress, and then you finish the year and you've achieved the goal that you set out with a mere 12 weeks later. There is a discussion in the book talking about a week 13, and they actually kind of offer a nice little, almost a reward at the end, which is take a long weekend or go do something fun in that week after your 12-week year is completed, to kind of draw the line in the sand and take a moment to celebrate and take a moment of enjoyment. Not that the process itself isn't enjoyable, because I certainly have found that it is. It's given me a lot of structure and alignment and a reminder that I'm progressing. But that week 13 is really lovely, because it's kind of, we've done the year, we've ended the year, just as you would actually in an annualized structure where you're kind of getting to November, December, and holidays are coming and there's an excitement factor there. They have built that in here, but again, it's flexible, it's full of choice, so it's up to you what that looks like. Again, just to summarize, it's about ditching that annualized thinking to get more done and get it done sooner and keep that momentum up. So that's kind of the overview of the actual process there. And just as a reminder, it's about honing in on the high value tasks, the high value priorities that you have, removing the distraction, removing the procrastination, the overthinking, the perfectionism, the, never ending options that exist for you as a small business owner, where you could be doing your accounting, you could be doing business development, you could be going to a networking event, you could be working with a client. There's so many things that are constantly there and constant distractions. They are important, but what is important for you is to reach the goal that you've set. And really, this is all focused around taking action. So use this operating model, take action, achieve the goal, and through that goal, you're achieving impact. Look out for another TLDR session, and thank you so much for coming today. And I look forward to hearing from you and hearing about your business really soon. Thank you.